जय हिंद, जय भारत एंड वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स। दिस इज आदि अचिंत। आज शाम है हमारे साथ जनरल दुष्यंत सिंह, जो हमको थोड़ा सा बताएंगे यार ये क्या हो रहा है भाई। कतार भी है, पाकिस्तान भी कतार कतार में है, पाकिस्तान भी कतार में है और कनाडा भी कतार में है। कतार ही कतार है, कतर भी कतार में है। इट्स अ होल लॉट ऑफ कंफ्यूजन व्हिच इज हैपनिंग। अटैक्स तो भारत के ऊपर एकदम चारों तरफ से आ रहे हैं। ये चीज कोई नई नहीं है। अटैक्स तो हमको पता है आने वाले हैं, क्योंकि इलेक्शन टाइम है, थोड़े से आप अपना फोर्स भी लगा रहे हो। क्या हो रहा है, थोड़ा सा सर से बात करते हैं। लेट्स फाइंड आउट व्हाट्स द गेम, कौन है, व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, थोड़ा लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड दिस एंड लेट्स टेक इट फॉरवर्ड। सर, गुड इवनिंग, नमस्कार, वेलकम टू द शो सर।
Namaskar, Adi. Thank you very much. Once again, I am there on Friday. I think you're making me regular on Friday.
आई विल बी ग्रेटफुल सर।
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. But anyway, thanks a lot for calling me. And I had a rush day today. A happy Infantry Day to all the people who are from the defense forces, from the armed forces. Today was Infantry Day, and I laid the wreath today at Command Headquarters War Memorial. It was a big event today, and after that, one has been busy in event after event. But what is more important is what we have to discuss today.
हाँ,
Qatar,
काफी।
yes, it's not only Qatar, but there is something. Qatar is one part of the chain what is now acting against India. And I thought, let me do a little more crystal gazing beyond what is apparently relevant to people today. So I will for a change start off with few slides. Although I don't like to have too many slides, but today I want to actually go by 2 3 slides which I have made. I want to explain to all of you exactly कि ये हो क्या रहा है, like what आदि said, ये क्यों हो रहा है और क्या हो रहा है। दोनों चीज इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्यों हो रहा है और क्या हो रहा है। क्यों का कई सारे आंसर्स हैं। तो कैन यू जस्ट पुट दी स्लाइड्स अप और आई कैन आल्सो हैंडल इट।
हुकुम सर।
ओके, जैसा कि मैंने ये टाइटल दिया है, राइजिंग एंटी इंडिया नैरेटिव, ईस्ट मीट्स द वेस्ट इन अ प्लॉट टू अंडरमाइन इंडिया स्ट्रेंथ, अनमास्किंग द एजेंडा, इंडिया अनफिल्टर्ड। ये मैंने बहुत सोच समझ के एक एक वर्ड को इसमें लगाया है। अगर आप इफ यू फोकस ऑन ईच ऑफ दीज वर्ड्स, यू वुड रियलाइज दैट देयर इज समथिंग बिग गोइंग टू हैपन, एंड बाय 2024 we may see intense anti-India rhetoric taking place across the globe.
जबरदस्त, एकदम फुल ऑन अटैक्स। हाँ।
Yes, and somewhere you will find that because of this common now, what the perception is, there is a common perception across the globe that if there is anyone who can challenge, I am now not mincing my word, not only China but also the West, it's India. The leadership of Global South is firmly behind India. 125 out of the 150 odd Global South nations are today with India. When there is a meeting, the heads of state of these countries meet if it is called by India. If it is called by China or America, you will find representatives, local embassy staff, etc. I'm picking this up directly from Rajiv Narayan's show, which I did yesterday. I thought there was a lot of merit in that. I give credit to General Rajiv Narayan's observation, and that got me, thinking beyond that. Is India in a squeeze play? Right moves or elections? Fever fueling the fire? India under pressure. Each word calculated, put under the scanner. Please reflect on it. I think you will find the answer why what is happening today to India. Let's go to the next slide. Now, this is very interesting. I picked this up on the in the internet. Why I'm saying India rising? Okay, look at the first half of the globe. CW means Cold War 2.0, and WW means World War 3.0. Are we going towards that? That is a question which I think needs a little more deliberation. But Cold War 2.0 is definitely on. It's definitely on. You see the first half. The first half is a world map made based on population. You see the size of India on the first half. We are shrinking China, or almost China India are equal. What is that indicating to the West? And what is that indicating to China? Is there something common now taking place? Look at the next lower half of this map. It's a map based on GDPs or economy. Let's put it in a 131 trillion economy of the world. India shrinks, China expands, but still India is large enough to capture the Europe, capture Russians. Look at the Russians. They're somewhere, very small little entity. Look at Africa. It's almost non-existent. Look at Latin America. पतला हो गया, एक डंडा बन गया नीचे. Look at your US, almost the same. Canada seems to be disappearing. Right? What does that indicate? That indicates that the story is changing. And it is changing because of, I would say, certain fantastic uh, actions, both on the economic front and as well as on the diplomatic front, and I would say to a limited extent on the hard power front. We definitely are increasing our hard power. We may not be as good as the others who are there in this particular map. So what I'm trying to say is that there is seems to be a convergence against India, both by East and the West. It doesn't mean that they have combined together. No, it only means that keep India under check. And how does that reflect? The East, in my view, is defined now today by China, North Korea, Pakistan, Taliban, Iran, Central Asian republics, Russia, and part Europe. By part Europe, I'm meaning those two, three, Serbia, uh, Hungary, etc. Those fringe countries of Europe which are still aligned with Russia, which you saw in the BRF, the Belt and Road Forum. There, they were the only two countries head which represented the Europe. Rest all were representatives. And even they had walked out when Putin was giving a talk. So therefore, West, all of you are aware, it is NATO and G7. Basically, Australia, if you have to include, gets included, New Zealand gets included into this,
Mm.
Japan on the other side. So the West and NATO and G7. There seems to be these two big alignments taking place, taking shape. They don't mince words. They don't talk of partnerships. They talk of alignments.
Mm.
They talk of agreements. It's only India which talks of partnership, strategic partnership, etc., etc. Why? Because there is another map which I wanted to show you all, where the global south is shown in a very, very clear terms, which is absolutely behind India. Let me go to what is happening today. So I have kind of established that India is in the eye of an unprecedented churning. The world's shocking moves have been unveiled, and India is under definite fire. How are they doing it? Growing stature is our cause. That is the cause because of which we are being targeted. It started off after the G20 and the BRI success. Let me tell you, on the face of it, the West was also shocked the way we presented G20. Now, do you hear about G20? I don't see any message coming out of the next president, what he's doing. I mean, G20, for me, it looks like as though there is nothing happening. But the day we took over as G20 president, I think the world was afloat with what is G20? One world, one family, one future. We had a theme, we had a message, and we were doing it on the ground. We proved to the Chinese we can do it in the Chinese and Pakistanis that we can hold a BRI summit in Kashmir. We proved it to the Chinese that we can hold a G20 summit in Arunachal Pradesh. What else you wanted here? It was the ultimate signal to our adversaries that, look, India has arrived. That was something very unsettling in my view. Uh, थोड़ा हिंदी में अगर मैं बोलूं अपने श्रोताओं के लिए, कि हमारे बढ़ते स्टेचर और उसका जमीन पे जो हमने ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन किया है, उन दोनों को देख करके कहीं न कहीं ईस्ट और वेस्ट दोनों में थोड़ी खलबली मची हुई है। तो क्या हुआ? जैसे ही G20 खत्म हुआ, एक एंटी इंडिया storm started off, and it all was started off by our friend Trudeau. Initially, we took it very lightly. ठीक है, Trudeau बोल रहा है. But you see what US did? US has tacitly supported Trudeau. I'm not saying that it has come out openly, because obviously it has a lot of defense deals going with India. So therefore, it has to earn money, and US policies are dictated more by the defense lobby than by any other lobby. As far as I mean, the next lobby which is very predominant in US is the Jew lobby, which basically both of these decide the election future of the presidents, and therefore Biden is constrained in his support to Trudeau. But mind you, Trudeau spoke to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia did not say any, I mean, it did not give any kind of a statement, either pro Canada or pro India. But look at Qatar. I will kill Qatar here only, for reason that, what is the importance of Qatar in Middle East? I'll start counting from 1 to 6. Al Jazeera. What does Al Jazeera do?
Propaganda.
Propaganda. For whom? Hamas, and basically the
I'd say anyone who
anti-Israel,
plays, sir.
yeah,
Sorry.
anti-India, and that kind of a thing. Next, which is where is the base of US in Middle East? Qatar. Who is friendly with Qatar? China, Pakistan, Iran. Who gives aid to Hamas? Qatar, 315 million. What did India do? The day Hamas attacked, India came out very strongly against Hamas. Qatar was somewhere, you know, not very happy with it.
Hmm.
I will add another factor to Qatar. Qatar it doesn't have a big defense force. It's got a decent defense forces for the threats, which are really speaking not much, as far as Qatar is concerned. But as it happens in the Middle East, everyone has a small little armada. I would call it as armada. It also has a navy. And let me tell you, Qatar Navy is predominantly dominated by retired Pakistani
Pakistani army.
naval
Hmm.
officers and the army. Predominantly. And most of these officers have cross postings to ISI. Okay? So, what are they doing in Qatar? Snooping on anyone. And here, I would put a, I won't say a adverse observation, but I had done a program with I think Gunner Shot, in which I had talked about private military contractors in the world. I will share some of these facts with you all so that you are refreshed about it. 9 major private military contractors, oblique companies, 6,25,000 people employed globally. Listen to these figures. These are not taken out by me personally, they have been taken out from open source intelligence. Mostly manned by ex special forces of various countries. Trend has spilled over to hiring personnel from developing countries. Which are these developing countries? Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Latin America, Africa. They come for $1,000. The Americans, the Spetsnaz, the Prigozhins, they come 4,000, $5,000, one fourth of a difference. And who employs them? Majority of them are employed by our friends in the Middle East. Who are these friends of ours? See, have you seen military fighters in these places? They're all hired guns. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, big names in private military contractors. They are deployed in 60 countries, including Nepalese have gone there. What do they present? A front? They call it as security and risk management companies. What do they provide? Combat personnel, logistics, administration, and other military services, including training. Our 8 of these veterans from the Indian Navy were part of this lure, the big money. And unfortunately, let me share another information with you all, which you will not find on the net. You will not find anywhere. These boys were officers, sorry, these officers and one sailor were employed in Singapore, not in Qatar. They were picked up from Singapore. The government of India thought it's like any other military, any other employment in the Gulf. So they did not have any objection. They allowed these retired military officers to go there. There is a procedure which we follow, that whenever a retired military officer wants to go out for a job, etc., he takes a sanction from the government of India, which the government of India gave it in a normal course. There are a number of officers from the defense forces and soldiers, sailors, and, airmen who keep going to uh, countries abroad for their job, etc. So they went to Singapore, and from Singapore these guys were picked up by Dara is the company which was looking after. What was it doing? It was providing training, it was providing military advice, etc., to Qatar defense forces. March, these guys were detained. March, all of a sudden, within 5 days, 6 days, these things get raked up. First instance court है वो. Is the first instance court, and it pronounces death penalty to them. Don't you smell something fishy? Of course, the media is abuzz that Pakistan ISI, including Times of India and other leading papers, have said that there is a Pak ISI connection. It has to be, because the Qatar army is dominated by Pakistan. Qatar defense forces are dominated by Pakistani personnel. For that matter, uh, their pseudo chief is there in the Gulf, Rahil Sharif. He is controlling all these buggers, yeah. So whatever manipulations are being done, I'm not having a very concrete evidence, but I'm giving you a very circumstantial and a correlatory evidence to say that there is a serious doubt of a Pakistan ISI hand in whatever is happening now. Why it is happening, we will go. So let's put that Indo-Canadian spat. Something happened. He spoke to Saudi Arabian chap. Saudi Arabian chap must have said, "Yeah, I am having a good relations with India. I should not get into the eye of the storm." So Qatar, our friend, was brought in. We'll cover Qatar later also. Then FATF visit. Oh, all of a sudden, India was the first country to actually propose, one of the founder members of FATF. There are 39 members, founder members. India is one of them. We were the ones who were wanting to go ahead and check terrorism, and lo behold, FATF is coming to assess India. Oh, they've given a name of mutual assessment. Mutual assessment with whom? What is India going to assess someone? So, like, India assesses somebody else. They're saying, okay, we are assessing you. All of you are aware, they have said that India curbs freedom of press, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. NGOs are being curbed. Center for Policy and Research has been prevented from taking foreign investment, and the reason they are giving is that, oh, you have approved it for Ram Tirath agency, which is looking after Ram temple and tourism out there. So why, what is so wrong about Center for Policy Research, which is supposed to be India, the left of left leaning organizations, to take money from abroad? So you are stifling the foreign freedom of speech and expression, etc. Do you know what the NGOs tell India? There is an organization called Varieties of Democracies. Okay, it rates democracies uh, based on their, I would say,
Some parameters that
quality
they've.
of democracy.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So how do they rate India? It is worth listening for everyone. India is rated as, you know what? Electoral democracy.
Electoral autocracies.
Sorry, electoral autocracy.
Hmm.
That means we conduct elections, but thereafter we are an autocrat. Okay. Of course, you know who's being targeted by this particular phrase. Okay, fine. That's okay. I mean, you made a rating and you've done something. In India, they have also kind of categorized India as the internet shutdown capital of the world. Look who is talking. Go to Canada, truckers protest. They had penalized even a person or a lady who was giving a cup of coffee to a trucker. Her accounts were frozen. Leave aside internet. Her accounts were frozen. She was not able to withdraw money. And they're talking of India being an internet. Where has India shut down internet? Only in odd places where is some trouble which has happened in Manipur. And I think Kashmir, we have stopped doing it at all, because Kashmir is now fully on board with India. कश्मीर और इंडिया एक ही है, पहले भी था, अभी भी है और आगे भी रहेगा. Right? So FATF was the second, how do you say, the spanner they have put against India. Then comes the BRF. Oh, how should the Chinese be behind here? When the West is doing so hard to choke India, the Chinese must also do. The Xi Jinping got a drubbing at BRICS, and at G20, so he was floored. He didn't know what to do. He was so upset. So he said, let me now do a BRF with 150 countries, 30 agencies, blah, 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 and I will outshine the world. What happened?
No
Somehow,
one came.
somehow his game fell flat. 23 heads of the state. Rest all were local embassy staff यार. वो यार ठीक है, चले जाना, देख लेना क्या बोल रहा है वो. So the global south was like that. Okay. Then comes Pakistan, our real friend. He's are actually a friend in need is a friend indeed type of a friend of a, you know. They get Nawaz Sharif to paint a very, very rosy picture. Look, we are looking at improving relations. Nawaz Sharif, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, good relations, always a friend of India. And lo behold, what he does the moment he lands in Pakistan, he starts saying, हमें अपने नेबर्स के साथ अच्छा रिश्ता बनाना चाहिए. इंडिया का नाम नहीं लिया उसने.
Hmm.
कॉरिडोर की बात कर रहा था, पाकिस्तान इंडिया बांग्लादेश कॉरिडोर.
Hmm.
हाँ, ऐसा आदमी जो कि बस यात्रा में हमारे से हाथ मिला रहा है और हमको बोलता है कि he doesn't know, he didn't know that Musharraf was planning something like Kargil while he was visiting China, or while he was doing something. He didn't keep Prime Minister in the loop. What does that indicate? That indicates that either you're fooling the world or you are a fool yourself. You pick and choose what he is. But he has been brought down at this point in time for the right thing, that Pakistan is seriously interested in improving relations. It's the overall narrative. Pakistan is also seriously interested in. How did it start with? US visits Pakistan. Its ambassador goes to Gilgit Baltistan, etc. is put under control. Some aids, etc. are given. Lo behold, Putin Saab also sends his second tranche of oil and gas. He has meetings with Pakistan. China, of course, you know, has always been, what do you call that? Iron brother, greater than the, higher than the Himalayas, deeper than the ocean, etc., etc. China is already with them. So overall, Russian benevolence, the US benevolence, the Nawaz Sharif getting into Pakistan, Asim Munir is being strengthened to be an autocratic leader. It is always easy to control an autocratic leader than a democracy where number of voices are heard in a country. Finally, you come to Qatar. I have already spoken about Qatar in quite a fair amount of detail. I would only add to what I have already spoken about Qatar is that Qatar has good relations with enemies of India. Qatar also has good relations with India. I won't say good relations, a working relation with India, because of which India is able to get the favors which it wants as far as Indian citizens are concerned, extrication of Indian citizens are concerned. So, like things, Qatar say we are able to manage that. So, if you look at this whole picture which I have projected to you, there seems to be some kind of an action to put India into its place. In this, there is a convergence of interest, not convergence of alignments. Alignments still remain east and west, but there is a convergence of interest so that India does not run away with the global south. Okay? African Union deeply in India's pocket. They recognize it openly. So there's a big game going on at geopolitical level. Now, a little more detail about Qatar incident. I thought since we are talking about Qatar, so this is my last slide, and thereafter you can ask me questions. We will dwell deeper if you want it. 8 officers, the senior most being a few captains. Captains are like colonels of the Indian army. A captain of an Indian navy is equal to, they command ships. They are big people in the Indian Navy. Commodore is a very temporary equivalent of brigaders are a very temporary position as far as Navy is concerned. The straight jump from captain is a rear admiral, which is the major general. So they are very senior officers, not one but almost three, four of them. Thereafter, there are commanders who are at the working level, who are generally running the ship, running things. They are the guys who are actually uh, running navies. Let's put it this way. They were picked up from Singapore, taken to Qatar. Qatari intelligence suddenly gets some bhanak of it in August 8, 2022. Normal actions were taking place, that they are trying to spy for Israel. They are trying to leak information about submarine project of Qatar. Number of stories are coming out. The information is very sensitive. The government of India, MEA, has come out with a statement that they will do everything possible to get these guys released. And I'm sure, given the although currently Qatar is not relenting, but given India's position today, like what I discussed earlier also, that India has some kind of a weight behind its thing. We should be able to seek. We should be able to get their release done, get them to India, or if not, a review. Options are many for India. Firstly, is within the legal system of of Qatar. Second is we could go to the ICJ, and if we go to the ICJ, then The problem with ICJ is that Qatar also has to agree to go to ICJ. That's a little big issue about ICJs. Both the sides have to agree that we will decide this case in ICJ. But I am relying more on our diplomatic pressure and our intelligence agencies to do something or to put some sense into Qatar. But that's for the future. Pak Navy presence I have already spoken about. Uh, they were arrested in 30 August 30. Till about a week or 2 weeks back, it was a normal case moving, as any court cases go. But suddenly उसको डिसीजन भी हो गया, डेथ सेंटेंस भी दे दिया. ये क्यों हुआ? To tell India that यार, hands off from Israel. Okay, hands off from Israel. Get back to the Middle East, Arab world. Why have you changed your policy, long standing policy of always speaking in favor of? The next step would be that Pakistan will start heating up the LC.
Already done, sir.
Yeah, Sumit Peer said that there was some deployment of 5,000 troops,
नहीं
etc.
नहीं वो
But
नहीं, कल तो फायरिंग होगी, रात को काफी फायरिंग हुई है, आज भी दिन में समथिंग हैज हैपेंड.
I know that. I'm just building up to that. So these 5,000 troops, etc., some weapon systems getting deployed in civil areas, etc. These are actually, these are opulent exercises which happen every year. So we should not make too much out of it. Our intelligence agencies are quite capable of handling them. But even these firings, there is a method in the madness. People want to hype up these firings. Tell me, every infiltration attempt, there would be heavy firing from both sides. Reason being that when you do fire, you attempt an infiltration. So the troops who are there on the LC, they get distracted, they start responding to fire, and quietly you'll find 4 5 chaps trying to get across. India is aware of this game, and that is why India focuses more on the infiltration, less on the firing. So we were able to kill 3 days back two in Uri sector, and even in the current firing which happened in the Poonch sector, we killed three of them. Of course, we couldn't recover the bodies. You see, what happens is you got to be there to understand what is the dynamics of this. I have been in that area for donkey's years, yeah, from a captain up to a brigadier, actively on the ground. The slopes are all leading towards Pakistan. So, moment they get fired upon, their first attempt is to run back. Okay, there are mines in between, so we can't really go and intercept them from the mines. We will suffer casualties. When we can kill them by fire, why should we get our men injured? So we didn't pick up the bodies, but we are sure that three guys who are trying to attempt, they have been killed, or even if there were 4 5 of them, they run back, or if they have crossed over in the hinterland, we have a various serious grids available. You've seen Kokarnag, etc. We've been able to manage to kill them. Sometimes we do have a little bit of bad incident because of local support, which is not very much. Very foot local support is there. Definitely in Poonch Rajouri sector, the local support has dwindled down to almost nil, but you can't rule out. So these incidents, one odd incident will happen, but Indian armed forces are well on top of the situation, but the heating up will take place. So all this combined, if you look at it, China putting pressure on you. What has China done? Maldives elections, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Prime Minister joint statement where they are talking of resolving their border issues mutually. Let us
Northern
see if
border. Hmm.
let's see if K4 buys K4 K5 buys it or not. I'm sure K5 knows more. He's much more balanced guy than this bloody Prime Minister of Nepal. So we should have this decision being reversed very soon. I don't think we should have any problem. But the fact is, Nepal is more dangerous. Nepal has open borders with us. Bhutan, we still have closed borders. We have passport etc being checked. नेपाल में कुछ नहीं होता है. It is just crossover here. There are host of madrasas and Chinese study centers. When you combine the Chinese study centers and the madrasas together, they become hubs of infiltration into India.
ticking time bombs.
Absolutely. So these are the guys who will be activated. UP is under great threat from these people. In my view, we will see some torrid times till the 2024 elections. After that, if we come out unscathed, I think India's geopolitical situation will go 10 times higher. I'm giving you
Oh,
this
100% sir, कुछ नहीं होना.
10
We'll be
times
fine.
higher. So, with that, I think I have finished my monologue, as you would say. But this is what I was trying to convey to all of you, that Qatar is one small peg of the big game which is being played. Now, the big game is being played against India, unfortunately.
Hmm. Interesting sir, let's do one thing. There are loads
Yeah,
of people with loads of questions. Let's
I know.
start with that also. मैं मिर्ची मसाला बीच में डालता रहूंगा.
हाँ, डालो डालो.
ओ मैं तो चलता रहता है मेरा तो. Little mirchi, little masala, and little garam masala also, and little tadka. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, sir, for this insightful presentation. I mean, you have actually given us a good game of what is happening. In the afternoon, I covered Qatar separately, and I spoke about the gas issue, where
Yeah.
आपका एक जो
I forgot to mention that one of the another reasons why Qatar is angry is, why aren't you buying it from me, यार? तुम रशिया से क्यों जा रहे हो लेकर के?
नहीं रशिया नहीं, अभी आप अफ्रीका में अपनी फील्ड बना रहे हो सर, मोजाम्बिक
हाँ,
में
हाँ, अरे
आप
हर
अंगोला
जगह
से गैस ले रहे हो,
हर जगह
तंजानिया
से
से ले रहे हो,
तुम
इराक
हमसे
में
क्यों बोल
गैस.
रहे हो यार?
हाँ ठीक है. सो गेल इंडिया वाज ट्राइंग टू साइन दैट एंड देयर इज अ ऑब्वियसली देयर समथिंग देयर.
Correct.
दूसरा सर सबसे आई मीन इम्पोर्टेंट जो मेरे को लगता है, जो आपने भी रेफर करा, जो ग्राउंड लेवल इंफॉर्मेशन दी होगी, इन द सेंस इन लोगों के बारे में पता नहीं सर. देयर इज अ हंच, आई कांट प्रूव इट, बट द हंच सेज दैट आपने भी इंडिकेट किया है इसकी तरफ, बट द हंच सेज दैट पाकिस्तानियों ने ये करा है जब वर्ल्ड कप में ये लोग दे टुक ओवर द सिक्योरिटी ऑफ कतार, राइट. सो आई थिंक इट इज दे वुड हैव सेड थ्रेट्स टू द कंट्री, ये वो एक जो स्टैंडर्ड रिपोर्ट होती है, सिक्योरिटी रिपोर्ट, and that is something which I see would have happened, and these guys have basically, आप timeline देखिए, it kind of you know fits into that entire game. So it's a very interesting thing. ऊपर से आप ग्लोबल बायोगैस अलायंस बना लेते हो.
सब कुछ ना, बोल तो रहे ना कि भाई आप आप कतार को इग्नोर कर रहे हो. कतार ने आपकी इतनी मदद की, अफगानिस्तान से निकलने में मदद करी, राइट? अफगानिस्तान से रिलेशन इंप्रूव करने में मदद की, बट यू फॉरगॉटन कतार यार. And Saudi Arabia say you are, being close. UAE you are being very close, but with Qatar you are kind of making a ignorance. अभी तो कुवैत भी करेगा हमारे against. You see, we have maximum NRIs in the Middle East. We are vulnerable there. We need to handle things very very carefully. कि कब किसको पकड़ लेंगे, और they will play with our emotions. They will play with our emotions. This is exactly what they are trying to do. Our foreign minister was on a defensive today when he gave the statement that we will do everything possible to get these guys out of. But I would also like to blame, this so-called private military contractor जो wave चला है ना. I told you 6 lakh 25,000 global, and the whole movement has shifted. It is no more from the developed countries. It is now coming all from the developing countries, India, Sri Lanka, you know, Nepal, Bangladesh, Latin American countries, most of them.
Hmm.
And they're all being deployed in Africa and Middle East. That's
Let's
the.
get into some questions and answers, sir.
Yeah.
Guys, question में जाने से पहले please like this video, subscribe to the channel. We are, I think, going to be touching 93,000 by the time we finish this video. That should be there. So we are inching close to our big number. Thank you so much. All you need to do is like, and that is most important. You can contribute towards me. QR code ऊपर लगा हुआ है, and you can send us super stickers or super chats or become members of the channel as well. चलिए जरा देखते हैं सर लोग क्या कहते हैं. What are people's feelings? There's a whole lot of emotion, of course, which is there in the country. Jay and sir, the way you've started today's talk, I can definitely say is going to be fun. Not saying previous ones were not good, but today's just wow. Arin, thank you so much for your contribution as well.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Gil, thank you so much for your contribution. He says, lived in Qatar, Morocco, Saudi, Hindu hate is so much in these countries. The only way to cut all the imports, exports to zero. India buys 40% of its LNG from Qatar. We are sponsoring terrorism and hate. Not 40, it is now 28%.
It's come down actually.
Yeah,
It's come. It's come down. That is one of the grouse. That is one of the grouse why Qatar is not liking what India is doing. But we are going to the cheaper place यार. जहाँ से सस्ता मिलेगा वहां से लेंगे. यहाँ पे अगर 100 रुपए हो जाएगा डीजल तो आप तो रोगे ना. So India is doing what is good for its country यार.
absolutely. So, Vineet ji, thank you so much. Dushyant sir, your words are like I'm listening to teachers in my school days. The open student eye for the country. You open the eye for the world for geopolitics. Thank you, man. That's a beautiful comment,
Thanks,
sir.
thanks Vineet. Thanks Vineet.
Gil, once again, thank you so much. India has to bow down again. Nothing will happen until business ties are cut off completely. Slowly over the years, I left Qatar after 1 month of a job.
I think it's a nice thing, Gil. I have had a similar experience of my friends who've gone to Qatar and gone to basically the Middle East and have had to return after a while. The work environment is not really good, and especially if you're going into a job like what these guys went in, our naval veterans, is fraught with danger because it is mostly populated with Pakistanis, and Pakistanis can never be your friends. I have operated with them as part of common delegations, as part of same missions a number of times in America, in Africa. I have no trust. Zero. और zero के नीचे कोई minus होता है ना, I will go beyond that also. There were a lot of guys from our side who developed some kind of a link, etc. But I just didn't have, I just didn't have any connect whatsoever. That
Absolutely, sir.
anti-India, there is a pew research, आप लोग थोड़ा गूगल करिए. There is a pew research of negative sentiments against country India and Pakistan. So search survey was done in India and survey was done in Pakistan. For India, it was negative sentiments against Pakistan, and for Pakistan, it was negative sentiments against India. You'll be surprised that Pakistan is almost majority of them were anti-India.
Absolutely, sir. उसमें कोई doubt ही नहीं है.
In
There is no
India,
doubt.
they were still Aman Ki Yatra type and those kind of people, who were trying to make mends here. You cannot mend friends with them here. Be careful, even when you are dealing with them, have the dagger behind you here. आप भूल मत जाओ
कतार
आदि.
ये कतर में तो स्पेशली ये है सर. दुबई एंड ऑल दैट इज स्टिल बेटर बिकॉज दुबई में तो लिटरली आई मीन आई एम नॉट जोकिंग एंड आई डोंट वांट टू बी डेरोगेटरी ह्यूमन वाइज, बट जो दुबई में शॉपकीपर्स हैं, ये हैं, वो हैं, जो बिजनेस ओनर्स हैं, वो पाकिस्तानियों को अपने घर के, वो अपना दरवाजे के बाहर खड़ा रखते हैं.
बिल्कुल.
आई एम नॉट जोकिंग. वहां पर इनकी वो लिटरली वो हालत है. ये 2-3 काम करते हैं. या तो वो स्ट्रीट में खड़े होकर फ्लायर वायर डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होने होते हैं, वो करते हैं, or they are doing gardening, or they're doing this door opening, door closing, and stuff like that. That's it. And the point is, in Dubai, 45 47 degrees heat, and you go and ask the guy, यार उसको अंदर खड़ा कर ले भाई, वो भी इंसान है. कहता नहीं 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 नहीं, ये गंदा करेगा मेरी दुकान को, बाहर रखो इसको.
You
So his
see,
job is just to do that.
the trust factor is missing.
And this is a local Emirati I'm talking about, huh?
Yeah,
These Emiratis have these big shops and big this thing, and they'll say, no, 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 that guy stays out. He opens the door from outside and closes it. That's it. उसको अंदर नहीं आ सकता वो.
yeah.
Average middle class gamer, thank you so much. After listening to you, General Sir, I'm a little scared, but the truth is scary. Also, a bit sad since a huge country like ours has to resort to soft diplomacy. We could have been a bear with a huge claws, but sadly, we are not, but hoping we will be.
Don't worry. I mean, since you've not put your name, I'm saying you're not average middle class. You're like any Indian like us, and I would say that India is developing its claws. India is developing its jaws. You will see the naval guys coming back soon. जब
Absolutely.
जब दांत खुलेगा तब लोगों को पता चलेगा.
नहीं नहीं,
Okay.
लेवरेज तो बहुत सारे हैं यार, ऐसी बात नहीं है। आज शाम को भी मैंने बताया था, बहुत सारे आपके पास ऑप्शंस हैं, डोंट वरी। जरा
Well,
धैर्य. Gil, thank you so much. Dubai is far better than Qatar. Yes, absolutely, I agree. I haven't been to Qatar, so I can't say that, but I know Dubai is
Dubai is
much,
definitely a little different
much, much,
dynamics.
much
Little
better,
different.
and environment is much better.
Yeah.
Siddhartha Mukherjee, will the Suez Canal lose its significance if the Indian G20 corridor succeeds? No.
Uh, Look, Suez Canal, Indian G20. First of all, the Indian G20 corridor is currently, uh, it has to wait a little while because let this let
Start
this
हुआ है
new.
sir.
Yeah, I mean, we have just started off. This was an
बहुत
idea,
time.
concept.
It'll take
It
three,
has to
four
be,
years.
it has to work. It has to be worked upon by various countries. We don't even know exactly which all countries it will go through. And in the meanwhile, all this has happened in the Middle East with two carriers on the in the Mediterranean and two carriers in the Gulf. No, four Bs, two in the
हाँ, total,
Mediterranean,
हाँ.
two in the Mediterranean and two in the Gulf. They virtually surrounded the Middle East. What is the implication of that? That we will discuss later on in some other program. That's a major issue, and possibly it has been done with a purpose. We'll come back to that subsequently, not in this session.
There's a breaking news which has come, sir. There's
Yeah,
been a massive strike. Gaza, all in communication. There's that everything is gone. There's no internet. There are strikes going inside. There's massive airstrikes happening. And
I had
Iranian foreign minister says they have pushed the button.
I
Wonder
I
what that
have
means.
I had said that it would take a week. It has taken exactly a week for the
But let's
offensive
see,
to
sir. अभी
launch.
पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है. This is just
No, I mean they will push in their special forces.
yeah. वो तो कल रात को किया ना, sir. They did that.
See, whenever this kind of a thing happens, the special forces will go in for the objective.
Probing attacks. Yes, sir.
No, no, no. They would go in for the tunnels, and possibly, I'm not sure if they've got the intelligence of the hostages. At least they will try to rescue few of them. We don't know. See, their priority is the hostages. They can go in for a all-out attack, but they risk the losing life of those 200 odd guys, and Israelis somehow value the lives of their people, right? So you take Entebbe, you take all the previous examples. They would try their level best to first get them out, and then once they are out, let me tell you यार, हमास बचेगा नहीं फिर. उनको जो बचा रहा है ना वो 200 आदमी 200 को जो उन्होंने किडनैप किया है ना, दैट इज द बिग लिवरेज विद दिस गाइस हैव गॉट. They played smart, no doubt about it. Hamas has played smart to it. But I think this could be an operation for the kidnapped guys also.
Special forces ops तो चल रही हैं, so there's no question. I
No,
mean,
no, that is one. But this with this massive strike,
yeah, yeah.
it could be a concentrated effort of that.
For tunnels, sir. Dustbin through back door. Justin Trudeau, by the way.
Kulbhushan Yadav death sentence. India
Given death sentence, India went to the ICJ. Why aren't we not going to ICJ now? Qatar is a signatory to ICJ.
I had told you in my talk that we have three options: legal, ICJ, and the diplomacy. We are trying the diplomacy part of it, the leverages which we have with Qatar. I think we should succeed in that. We don't have to go to ICJ. We should
Hmm.
get it before that only.
Samudra Bhattacharya says today USA attacked Abu Kamal. Is it some sort of a show of pressure on Iran and Qatar? Your thoughts? Iran and Syria. Iran mainly. Would you agree,
See,
sir?
look, yeah, I saw this news about Iran attack
Morning
on,
में. Hmm.
yeah, attack on Iran. It's a kind of a warning to Iran. Don't try to interfere. We have got these four floating threats around you, and the intelligence agency of the, I don't take that name now, otherwise you will come out with your catchy phrase of five eyes. Anyway, 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 Iranians are well covered as far as surveillance is concerned.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a message given to them. If they could kill Soleimani, yeah, I mean Soleimani was supposed to be a very high value target. If you kill that fellow, I'm sure the Iranians have been sent across a message: don't mess in Gaza. Let the Gaza be sorted out by Israel. And if they still miss, I think you will see Iran being badgered. See, the
Hmm.
Americans are looking for a reason to badger Iran, and then you will find China and Russia getting into the picture. So it will become a big game here. It will become a
Correct,
big
sir.
game.
Sonal ji, she says, sir, does it seem to you more and more like a connived plot to implicate Bharatiyas when needed? This I
I'm
believe in, sir. This was
I
a trap.
believe in it. That is why I'm saying that, I showed you all those, that second slide of mine.
Yeah,
I took a
absolutely,
lot
sir.
of time here. I took almost 2 hours to make that, that build that picture, to tell you all that what may happen to India.
Yeah, yeah.
And if India is careful about it, I'm sure our programs would be listened to by people who matter, and they would be looking at it. Not that they are not capable of it; they are also capable of doing it. But it just gives them a little more reminder here. That's about all.
Absolutely. KSV Prasadji, thank you so much. He says, what happens if the unknown gunman appears in the corridors of Qatar rulers? It's
Yeah,
happened before.
we have a lot of friends of India here. Currently, you are seeing them in Pakistan. They can go anywhere. Yeah. You can go. You can go anywhere. Okay.
Sandeep ji, thank you so much for the super sticker. Uh, Manjari ji, thank you so much. She says FATF coming to India pose a big problem for us.
Yes, I had told you during this show itself. There are three, four things which may happen. Look, what will happen is, if the FATF comes and if it picks up any loophole in our anti-money laundering system, or if it picks up a bias, they are not looking at anti-money laundering system, because India has foolproof systems in place, and this has been validated earlier also by international agencies. They are looking at partiality. If they find that we are biased toward agency A and agency B, that is what they will highlight, and that will become a big fodder for our left leaning, media, led by led by, should I name it? I think all of you know it: Open Society Foundation, blah blah blah. And the internal players of our country, who are the internal players of the country. For all you know, this may be sponsored effort of Canada, our internal players. The George Soros is a very good friend of Trudeau. FATF is majority wise under control of the US. That's why I said West and the East converge to check India into place. I mean, to keep India in its place. They don't want to see a growing India. They've seen growing China. They don't want another growing India. And India has been very firm on our statements. Whatever way we are doing, we have not listened to America, despite America telling that we should sort out our problems with Canada mutually. India has been very very firm. Although we have piped down a little bit by saying that we will give visa to uh, exceptional cases. And we're not.
वो
I
सिर्फ
mean, people.
कॉर्पोरेट वीज़ाज़ हैं सर, कॉर्पोरेट वीज़ा
Yeah,
से कुछ फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता। वैसे भी
yeah,
कितना कॉर्पोरेट ट्रैवल कनाडा
yeah.
में बड़ी कौन-सी कॉर्पोरेट्स बैठी हैं जो इतना ट्रैवल करती हैं, देयर इज़ नथिंग।
बिल्कुल,
सो
सो वो उनको वैसे भी मिल जाता है यार,
एंड
वैसे
वैसे
भी।
भी सर वो बंदे हैं जो दीज़ गाइज़ हू हैव ऑलरेडी बुक्ड टिकट्स जिनके लॉन्ग टर्म प्लान्स होते हैं, ये वो अच्छा
यार
ठीक है यार।
यार, एनीबॉडी कमिंग टू इन्वेस्ट, ही विल बी गिवन यार, सिंपल एज़ दैट।
एग्ज़ैक्ट एग्जैक्टली। लैंग्वेज
I
जो
mean,
मर्जी बोल लो तुम।
I mean, you don't require rocket science for that. Yeah, okay.
एब्सोल्युटली सर। पता है
Yeah,
की बात बोलते हैं इसको, बाकी सब छोड़ दो। गिल,
yeah,
थैंक यू सो मच वंस अगेन। इसे कतार पे कब्जा कर लो। टोटल पॉपुलेशन 25 लाख, यहाँ से 2-3 करोड़ लोग भेज दो, सारा पेट्रोल हमारा हो जाएगा। भाई पेट्रोल नहीं है उधर, गैस है।
gas, gas बहुत है वहाँ पे कतर।
Anyways, that's a good joke. Vishwanath ji, thank you so much for your contribution. Why doesn't India design and publish economic security, democracy, and happiness, and such other indices?
Yeah, why waste time in these things? Yeah,
No, there's an organization which is coming up, sir. Government-funded organization, but
that's fine. That's fine. But I, I for one believe very strongly that these indices are losing their relevance.
yeah, yeah,
They were important once upon a time, but I think nobody's taking them seriously anymore.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Except for the Western world. It's like, telling, I've got a think tank, I say, this is bad. So one friend of mine says, yeah, this is bad. The second friend of mine says, this is bad. So you are living in an echo chamber.
yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I would rate it as an echo chamber. Okay.
Saurabh Singh says, follow two rules if you want to be safe. One, don't trust the Pakistani even when all supportive evidence. Two, don't forget the first one.
Absolutely.
Good
Absolutely.
comment. Primordial Pete. Man, that's a tongue twister. Do you think Mossad actually did recruit our Indian Navy personnel to spy? Some intelligence agencies use third parties to reduce the risk of their own civilians.
Uh, Not exactly. Not exactly. I have no proof to substantiate your claim or the claim by Qatar or claim by I'm first time hearing a intelligence agency of Qatar, so I don't know how much is their relevance. That's why I said it is Pak ISI which is doing it. See,
Yeah.
sometimes you're framed, and Pak ISI is known to frame people.
Known to all this. That's why I said this was a trap. इनको जान के लेके आए हैं ताकि एक leverage create कर सकें,
They
and बेचारों को फंसा दिया है. Nothing
and
else.
their CNC, I would say the Commander in Chief of Pakistan in the Middle East, Rahil Sharif is sitting there. He's coordinating all these actions, whether it is in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE, or for that matter in Qatar. This is all being done by him. He is the nodal agency. उनके थ्रू ये काम हो रहा है सारा. मैं तो बोलता रहूंगा जब तक मेरे मुंह में आवाज है.
Absolutely, sir. Global Office 2.0 asks General Sir, what are the chances of USA going to direct fight with Iran? What will Putin and Z do?
Look, they will not pick up a fight as of now. It's an election year. You have to be very careful. But Biden needs to walk very cautiously as of now. He's already stretched from Japan, Taiwan to
Everyone is
Gaza,
stretched.
Gaza and Ukraine. He's begging for money from the Senate or from the Congress.
Congress.
100 billion he's asking for, Ukraine and Israel combined. If he starts a war with Iran, he will himself require money to fight that. So as of now, my sense is, my rational thinking says that is he's going to show a force. He's going to do a show of force. He will put these guys under pressure. Middle Eastern guys will be put under pressure. They will be told, partners, behave. Otherwise, I have the capability to, I mean, sort you out. I'll tell you why their threats are credible. The Chinese threats are not credible because they have never used military power. But the US, even they may have lost battles,
Yeah, yeah.
but they show the willpower to use force.
Sir, एक और चीज है. One thing, if I may, USA is a maritime and aerospace power. It's not a
Absolutely,
land continental power. Okay,
absolutely,
so they can
absolutely.
project strength in sea and in the air really well.
And this time, I think if US is not, I have been in the US for 1.5 years. I've done programs with very senior advisors of the US. Uh, there were a lot of guys who advised George W. Bush Jr., saying that do what you want to do in Iraq, do what you want to do in the Middle
Don't go
East,
on the ground.
don't go on the ground.
Absolutely.
and they told them very clearly,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
even if you go on the ground, get out of it. What India did
Quick.
in Bangladesh, what India did in Bangladesh, India did the mistake in Sri Lanka. We went on the ground, we continued there. We had to suffer a lot of casualties. Foreign country wars cannot be fought by external people. People's war, I'm talking. I'm talking of people's war. I'm
Expeditionary wars, very difficult.
expeditionary wars are to be fought quickly and withdraw back.
Absolutely correct, sir.
So aerospace power, air battle, that's what should be the response of the Americans. And I think they have learned their lessons. They have they have bit all their fingers into the कढ़ाई यार, सारा जल गया उनका.
Yeah,
पांचों
yeah.
फिंगर जल पांचों फिंगर जल गई हैं अगर आप टोटल काउंट करो. इराक, सीरिया, वियतनाम, सोमालिया,
हर
हर
जगह
जगह
सर.
जल हर जगह जल के बाहर निकले हैं. आई थिंक दे गोइंग टू यूज व्हाट
Yeah.
is doing. Yeah.
Rajesh Agrawal ji, General sir, what thing India can weaponize and use as its leverage
India's market.
capacity to purchase? Absolutely, sir. ये बोलते हैं
India's
ना
market.
सर, एक बारी सिंक हो जाता है ना, उसके बाद वहीं पर आंसर निकलते हैं सेम.
India's
Absolutely
market.
correct.
We will weaponize that.
Absolutely. Harshvardhan ji, sir, election is coming and they know Modi can't afford to look weak, especially after Canada episode. I think they are pushing India to take some aggressive steps like Russia did in Ukraine.
Uh, India will not fall prey to that. India has some very sane people in our in our power setup. We will take strong action. Don't worry. If you could get out our citizens from Israel within a span of 3 4 days, we will take strong actions. You see, there are certain things where we are caught because of our overall the overall stance as far as diplomacy is concerned,
Yeah.
respect for international rules and regulations, etc. That's why you are finding this naval incident to be little, and even the Indo-Canadian incident. I just want to tell all of you that India is going to drag Canada into FATF
Yeah, yeah.
for you for your information. And if that happens, ट्रूडो का जो भी थोड़ा बहुत रह गया ना वहां पे पॉपुलैरिटी, they got one seat in Manitoba incidentally, one seat.
That is
वो
the
भी
real
चला
Canada, actually, by the way.
हाँ वो भी चला जाएगा.
वो जगमीत ने पार्लियामेंट में खड़े होकर बोला ना, when I will become a prime minister, लोग
Prime
हंस रहे
Minister,
हैं.
if, if the Canadian Pappu doesn't learn now, I don't think he will ever learn here.
And the guy didn't know what he was, he's looking here, looking there, people are laughing at him, and like, he just, okay, क्या
Imagine,
बात.
yaar, your bloody supporter is telling when I become the prime minister. Obviously, because in Manitoba, the majority was with Jagmeet.
Jagmeet.
He had 25 seats, and I think 7 or 8 with eight. I think 8 or 12, but were with Pierre, and one by our friend Trudeau. Anyway, and
Chirag,
why Jagmeet got it there? It was because of not because of the Khalsas. It was more because of the indigenous population which is there, and they have roped in.
नहीं
They've
नहीं
kind
वो
of
माइनॉरिटी वोट में आ जाता है सर वो.
yeah. And indigenous population is वैसे भी against
Yeah.
the white Canadians.
Chirag ji, thank you so much for your contribution. Gumnami Baba, will Bharat take stringent actions, or will Bharat keep going at it diplomatically with long-term relationships and policies with Global South until the world turns on its axis?
Uh, Bharat is waiting for 2024.
और क्या बोलो.
I mean,
Hiya Shah, Aadi, was Qatar planning this death sentences from 2022 as they have been jailed by Qatar in 2022. Hamas attack plan was also created in 2022. Is there long-term game plan as we don't know anything as of now?
uh, I won't put it as so much of a correlation, so much of a coincidence. August 22 was the time when they were first detected. It is the raising of the incident all of a sudden. I mean, everybody. Incidentally, India had intervened through consular intervention before this also. Twice India had intervened. It was not considered as a very serious kind of a case. It has been made a serious case very recently, and thanks to the Pakistani intervention, to my mind. And of course, China is the string puller of all this behind. वो क्या puppeteer है वो. Xi Jinping is the puppeteer.
Hmm.
Without
Hardik, we've
without
already
any
done.
I'm not
Sorry.
giving evidence. I'm not giving evidence. I'm just saying that that's the way I look at it.
हार्दिक जी, I've already done a session with sir only about with tunnel warfare. Please उसको जरा आप देख लीजिए.
देखिए.
फैंटास्टिक सेशन. आज उसके टनल में से काले काले धुएं निकलने ऑलरेडी शुरू हो गए. साइबरपंक डेंटन सेज वेटिंग फॉर 2022. मतलब वोटिंग की बात कर रहे हो क्या? और क्या हो रहा है भाई 2024 में? क्रिकेट मैच तो नहीं है.
देखिए
होगा, माफ करना मेरे को. डोंट डोंट टेल मी क्रिकेट मैच है. मैं देखता नहीं, बस इट्स जस्ट अ
देखिए
एक्सप्रेशन.
ऐसा है 2024 is not the elections only in India. 2024 is elections across the world. Pakistan, India, अफ्रीका में कई जगह इलेक्शंस हो रहे हैं.
ताइवान.
ताइवान, अमेरिका, यू नेम देम. इंग्लैंड का तो पता ही नहीं है कि कब इलेक्शन होता है, कब नहीं होता है. इंग्लैंड हैज बिकम लाइक, आई मीन, टू मी इट लुक्स लाइक a
No,
country.
Europe
I
is
don't know.
going in. You've got
Europe,
elections in Spain, in Germany, and in Poland.
so with so much elections taking place on the ground, and mostly in the democratic countries, you'll find things could change. The entire geopolitical
Yeah,
narrative
yeah.
could change, and that is why we are waiting for something, concrete. How the next 5 years are going to pan out is something which we have to take. It's very difficult to take serious decisions at the unless something like Kargil happens.
जी.
So that is the time when Bajpayee had to take a decision. He was forced to take a decision. It was not that Bajpayee was keen to have a war with Pakistan. In fact, he was keen to have peace, Rath
Peace with
Yatra, sorry,
Pakistan.
Bas Yatra, and all that. So something like that happens when you're forced to do something, then we will do it here. India doesn't have the power projection capability to go to Qatar, etc. So we should not talk about it. We need a lot of resources to do such things, right? As of now, India doesn't have that kind of resources. So as and when we have it, we will think about it.
Divya Agarwal says England has become another Pakistan. No PM is able to finish their term in recent times. True?
Yeah, I mean, you can say, but Rishi is doing a good job. I mean, he's an Indian survivor.
At least standing there.
Yeah, survivor है.
Good
Survivor
job
है.
तो मैं नहीं बोलूंगा सर, but at least he's standing there.
What I'm saying,
क्योंकि
survivor.
look at the streets going
Yeah.
nuts over there. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
So that's
Technology hub.
happening that's happening in America also. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
everywhere in the Western world, things are not happening the way
Freedom
they
of
should happen.
speech.
Yeah.
Technology hubs, thank you so much. Can't we do the same with the Rajdoot here? No,
I mean, we have not gone to that level here.
no. And we'll take the
Even Raman left Hanuman alive here.
Vishwajit Singh, thank you so much for your contribution. General Sir, Namaskar. What is the role of UAE negotiating a ceasefire between India and Pakistan at the time of Pakistan's convenience? This allows Pakistan to violate ceasefire at their will, and UAE will be missing in action. It was actually both of our convenience. We were also busy with China at that time.
Yeah. Actually, you see, my take on Pakistan is that we don't require a third party for it. I am not I am not at all comfortable with a third party trying to do anything between India and Pakistan. Our stance on India and Pakistan is very clear. No terrorism, terrorism, no talks.
Sir,
Stop
ये
it.
जो थर्ड पार्टी का गेम है ना, ये this is entire, sorry to interrupt you, but this is a Pakistani propaganda.
Yeah, I know that. That's what
There
I'm
is no
saying.
proof of this thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, our see, there are some backdoor diplomacy which take place. Those should be only given credence for building a ground. to start a bilateral talk, right?
Mm.
Ultimate decision will be taken through a bilateral meeting only. That's been the stance of India, and India has made it very clear: non-violable condition. For China, it is go back to 2013, and for India, for Pakistan, it is stop terrorism, otherwise no talks.
No talks.
Simple. It is not going to be broken at all. Ye- At least by this government. When the next government comes, one doesn't know.
Absolutely, sir. सरजी थैंक यू सो मच दिस वाज अ फैंटास्टिक टॉक आई थिंक हमने एक प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट बोलते हैं ना सर एक जगह में प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट हमने स्टेट कर दिया है अब ये देखते हैं प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट कैसे हाउ विल इट मूव फॉरवर्ड इज द क्वेश्चन every
Yeah.
day is going to be a new development because I think this I think I'm going to disagree with Modi sahab by saying only one small thing. This has become an era of war. um, Sorry to say that, but that's what I see in reality. And wars are
It's
not just fought on the battlefield, but are also being fought in the hearts and minds of people. And that
it
is
is a
something that we need to understand.
we are going into a pre 1990 era. I'm just
Yeah, yeah,
I told
yeah,
this in my previous program also. I'm telling it now also.
yeah, sir.
We are going into a pre 1990 era. If you want to fool yourself, most welcome.
Keep fooling. Absolutely, sir. On that note, sir, thank you so much. Looking forward for next week,
Thank
Friday or something. We'll figure that out. But thank you so much and Jai Hind, sir. Jai Hind, Jai
thank
Bharat.
you. Thanks. Jai Bharat. Jai Bharat to you.